So this patient's coming in for removal of a couple skin lesions. You can see down here, do you see that, Rada? This is just a scaling patch. This is consistent with a seborrheic keratosis. When it's flat like this, you have a couple of removal options. These ones that aren't bothering so much, I've treated those with liquid nitrogen. If you treat those, I find every 3 weeks to every 4 weeks, these will fall off nicely, and that would be the ideal circumstance because you'll have minimal scarring. Come around here to this side, same type of thing here, and these thicker patches are the same issue here. This is more of sebaceous hyperplasia. Here she has what we call a variant of a skin tag or an acrocordan. I don't know why that medical term is what it is, but we've frozen underneath it, and we're just going to clip that off. It's obviously in a bad spot for her. If this was somewhere else, you could also freeze it and it would slowly shrink, but that's just a bit unusual for her because I wouldn't have her subjected to having to leave this there for months on end when we can just take it off. And similarly here, you'll see this is another seborrheic keratosis, but it's more pedunculated. So again, we can either freeze this every 3 weeks, or we've frozen under this, and I'll use a cautery unit or a Bovie to cauterize this, and it's a quicker way to remove these type of lesions. So we'll scrape it, and then we'll just use a scalpel to clean up the edges. You okay?
Yep.
You're feeling fine?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't hurt at all when I push there?
No.
So for these ones here, and you have to be aware of the fact the scalp, the face can sometimes have a big blood supply. So I'd prefer to use scissors as opposed to a scalpel because there's a clean edge on it. And as usual, we'll always send that off for pathology, even though we're pretty confident with what it is. So here again, I tell residents, don't be worried about how you do this, because if you're nervous or you Skype it or you don't cut clearly across the edge, you can always clean that up after the fact. So this is the hyfricator here. It's going to make a buzzing noise. So I want to put pressure right on the spot and slowly come off of it. And you can see how that cauterizes pretty well. So these spots around are just where I injected, above that and below. So all I'll do now, just to clean that up a bit further, I'll take a number 15 blade and I'll just clean that up a bit. So this is what I was talking about. If my edges aren't good, then with this step, I'll clean up whatever is excessive. And then that'll be nice and flat. And then essentially what I do now is I'll decrease the gain on the hyfricator so it's not as irritating to the tissues. So I did have it set to a frequency of 12, and this is now at 7. And this will just add a gentle cautery here. Just like that. And that'll scab off and fall off in a week and a half or 2, and that'll heal in really nicely for us. Now coming over to this one. So the only thing I want you to see with here is I'm going to cauterize this a bit, just to see how that reacts. See how that starts to almost emulsify a little bit? That's what seborrheic keratoses do when you introduce current to it. Just like that. So what I'll do, just to make this simpler, because this is frozen, I'm just going to grab this like this, and I'm going to clip this off. So I don't have as much volume to deal with here. Just like that. So this is a good example, where you can see that if I left tissue behind, like I've done on purpose here. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's not hurting?
No.
Good. So now, I'm just going to apply it directly here to the remnant. And you see how it just sort of starts to emulsify, just like that. And when I've done that enough, then what I'll be able to do is just take my scalpel and scrape it off, so it loosens it from the basement membrane. And now, see how that just comes right off? Just like that. And this is certainly the quicker way to take seborrheic keratosis off. So if I have somebody who has a wedding that's coming up quickly, we'll do this. And so here again, I'll turn the gain down just a little bit. And I'll just do a gentle cautery. So you can see through here how there's still a little bit more residual than I'd like. So all I'm going to do in that case is I'm going to grab the scalpel again. Just spread that out a bit. And I just take that down. See how that just scrapes off? Not that that wouldn't heal properly, it would, but it'll just take longer. So the more of those ridges that I can take down, the quicker this will heal for. So now that's down to that. Now I'll lower the gain even further. So this is down around 6 now. And I'll just add a gentle layer. And this acts just like a variant of a scab. So while it looks a bit unsightly now, this whole area is going to scab off and fall off, and then she'll have new, fresh skin in about, I'd say 2 to 2.5 weeks, something like that. And just like that, then we'll be good. And that's it. So this is just a follow-up video. We took a skin tag that was growing out of the left nostril off, and more particularly on the left cheek, there was a seborrheic keratosis that we had cauterized off. You can see now, this is a month and a half later, how well that's healed. It's completely gone, so that's a really good result.